We've been joined by Dr. Syed Mohammad Nasir. He's a visiting faculty, Fatima Jinnah Women University, and a former IG Forests, and a very eminent guest as far as environment and climate change and deforestation is concerned. And he's right here with us in the studios. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab, to have joined us. Dr. Saab, Pakistan has been grappling with the profound impacts of climate change. We've seen the floods that happened in 22. We have seen all the other effects of climate change as well. We see the increase in temperatures right now as we speak, although the weather becomes a bit kinder with rains, but the increase in temperatures is paramount compared to last year as well. Has the world understood Pakistan's plight? Because despite Pakistan highlighting it at COPs, at Geneva, the aid that needed to come to Pakistan hasn't come as it had been pledged.
Well, the world really realizes it. Everybody agrees that we have to, the science is very clear that we have to minimize the temperature rise to 1.5 by 2030 and then by 2070 a net zero. Otherwise, this is not going to be a sustainable world. They realize it, but the world is probably not, the world economies, major economies, are not ready to do it immediately.
And but why is that in your opinion?
Because over the since the first industrial revolution or the third industrial revolution, the global economy is based on fossil fuels. It was late that everybody realized, and despite that fact that it is a lot of investment is needed to go carbon neutral, whereas the many countries, those who are responsible, are trying to delay it, which appears. But inside, they are all working on renewables for solar and electric cars. They are investing very heavily, and even the biggest oil producers, which are blamed to be the biggest polluters, Saudi Arabians, are investing very heavily on renewables. And it won't be a surprise by 2030 or a little bit later, they would balance their ecological footprints. So for us, it is best not to put all our eggs on these promised aid. It keeps up, pledges keep up coming, and then there are always backtracks. So we have to have a even if all the aid that is pledged, $100 billion per year for all the countries,
the Paris Agreement,
even before that, but what percentage we will be getting will never be $1 billion. And then when it reaches the real affected people, so the government of Pakistan is already doing some wonderful work and developing their own adaptation plans, having very proactive climate change cells, capacity building programs within the provinces. All the provinces have their provincial red office. There was some delay in reopening the national red plus office. So things are moving, and the things are going for the better. Simultaneously, the problems are also coming up in a bigger way, and we also have now very dynamic government officers in the meteorological department, in the academia. In NAST, I was closely involved with the deployment of artificial intelligence for forest fire prediction, and there we had a deep inside look into global processes and the processes in Pakistan, and the provincial governments are very responsive. They are very much agreeing to accept new ideas. We hope that things will be better.
All right. Now, before we go to forests, I'd like to understand this statement by the Indus River System Authority that says the country is facing a 30% water shortage at the start of the sowing season for the kharif crops. And of course, they need as much of water as possible, like rice, like maize, like sugarcane and cotton are sown in April and require a wet and warm climate, with high levels of rainfall. Do you think this is going to have an impact as far as our crops is concerned? Are there any remedial measures that are available?
There was a similar situation in the mid 2000s, and there were predictions that there will be a crop failure or wheat shortage due to lesser rainfall. But at the end of the harvest season, we found that we had more wheat crops.
All right.
And the farmers of Pakistan who have evolved, regardless of what the government policies are, they know how to go about it, and they adapt, and they can always design innovative ways, and they do it.
All right. Dr. Saab, do you feel authorities can better plan on how to utilize the water that is allotted to them?
I think you have been doing wonderful thing in highlighting the Recharge Pakistan project, which is originally, in simple words, a flood welcome policy. During the high flood season, we get so much flood that excess water that it drains down the ocean, and then followed by long periods of drought. So the art is to give space to the flood water to on their historical path between the height of the Himalayas and the Arabian Sea, the river systems, and respect the river beds, and we have some good news that the provincial governments are fully involved in that, and let's hope that there will be some good results in recharging the ground aquifers, which is the lifeline of the agricultural economy of Pakistan.
Another very important aspect when it comes to climate change are the forests, whether it be worldwide or in Pakistan as well. And also coming to climate change, I'd like to deviate a little bit and ask something that is also that involves you directly or indirectly. A 3-member bench that was led by Chief Justice Qazi Faiz Isa told the CDA to remove further trees in line with guidelines provided by forest experts, whose assistance was sought at a previous hearing on this very thing. The CDA staff is apparently going to strictly follow their directions, removing the paper mulberry trees from the park. It had also earlier asked important, members like yourself, the Supreme Court, for assistance besides restraining further deforestation inside the park, because a lot of people had their doubts about cutting the trees and what impact it's going to have on increasing temperatures and climate change as far as our capital city is concerned. The court has also ordered the Ministry of Climate Change to implement a policy to discourage alien invasive species and circulate the same among the provinces to enable them to enact appropriate legislation if they deem it necessary. My question is twofold. How important is this decision as far as the cutting of the trees is concerned for health purposes, and also to make sure that you don't cut the wrong trees so that the deforestation of Islamabad does not exaggerate, and the second, this implementation of the policy that the Supreme Court has also asked the Ministry of Climate Change to do.
Very lengthy question you have put, which have so many parts. The good thing is that the highest authority in Pakistan has given a landmark decision. This is the first time that alien invasive species have got national importance. And I will start with the last part of your question, that the provincial governments of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, which is Balochistan, some people think this backward province. No, they are very forward looking. In their provincial legislation of wildlife and environmental protection, they have good sections on controlling not only alien invasive species but also GM crops. But the problem is that the mandate of the wildlife department is limited to wildlife, and alien invasive species is a broader subject which has to be tackled by the pure taxonomists, a rare breed globally and also in Pakistan. Taxonomy is the science of nomenclature, of identification of plants and animals. So the good thing is that this decision also gives importance to the taxonomists of Pakistan, and we still have some few taxonomists, and the society must respect them, give them honor, and there is no shortcut to pure science, and it's not just because lack of complete knowledge was leading to removing of one type of invasive paper mulberry, but welcoming another type of invasive species like the ipple. So, the good thing is that probably tomorrow or Saturday, the CDA is holding a follow-up meeting to consider how the way forward in a sustainable way for both in compliance to the Supreme Court orders for immediate, mid-term and long-term plan for the eradication of all alien invasive species, and it is never going to happen in 1 year, one shot, one activity. It has to be a well planned, scientifically oversight of by scientists or taxonomists and pure ecologists, not half cooked scientists. That is going to happen, and this is a good thing that is happening, and we can foresee that the Ministry of Climate Change shall once the official verdict of the Supreme Court comes, they will be more proactive and have some legislation, federal as well as provincial, for the control, eradication of the alien invasive species. A good news is in Pakistan, we have some brilliant scientists at Kabi like Dr. Babar Bajwa and his team. They have found biological control for the eradication of the carrot grass, the parthenium, the wildflower which is overtaking our ecosystems in northern Pakistan. It is extending, it is taking over our national park, our native flora, and also affecting our fauna. So, the biological control with minimum environment, with no environmental impact is there, and we look forward to working with that brilliant team with foresters who are the practitioners, pure taxonomists, and scientists like applied science like the ones we have. So, it was going to be a collective work, not CDA alone cannot do it.
All right, but what about F9? How long is it going to take? The cutting down of the paper mulberry trees?
They have already started that process under the court orders after thoroughly knowing that paper mulberry causes allergy, and even if it doesn't, it has other negative environmental impacts. It takes over the native flora, and one good thing is that the Supreme Court also mentioned about not planting exotic foreign trees in a specific ecosystem. So, the good thing will be that those trees which have evolved with this climate over time will need less water, no pesticides, less fertilizer, less take care, and will be well suited to our climate.
All right. Final question, Dr. Saab. Deforestation is a global phenomenon, and this region has also seen a lot of it. What should be the measures globally and in the region to take in order to prevent deforestation?
I wish there was someone who had the solution and the carrot and the stick. Brazil is a classical example. The previous Prime Minister was pro deforestation. The present one, President Lula, he ever since he has taken office, the figures have dropped. Deforestation figures have dropped drastically, and the Amazon is the lung of the earth. Whatever happens in Amazon impacts the Sahara Desert, impacts the Russian wildfires. So, it impacts something happening in as far as Australia. So, as a global citizen, we have to work collectively.
All right, but are you optimistic as far as this working collectively for deforestation, because we see wildfires also, like for example in Australia, happening because of the increase in temperatures, coming back to climate change and the effects of it. So, it's all a vicious circle basically, Dr. Saab. You need to take care of the forest because the forest will prevent the temperatures from increasing, but then the increase in temperatures also cause wildfires, which comes back and we come back to square one.
Wildfires is quite a complex thing. If you recall a few years back, before it was during the COVID time or even before that, when President Trump was the president of US, and his statement was that he was blaming the US Forest Service for these wildfires, huge wildfires. and that was because of 100 years of overprotection from grazing and ranching. The forest, so much undergrowth came and combustible material accumulated. So, we are living in a world with rising population. We have to find a win-win situation where due respect to the processes of nature, natural grazing, we have to follow that removes the ground bush. And if we have experience in Pakistan, where in forests wherever there is goat grazing by the poor nomadic people, we don't experience too much fires. But where we overprotect, we expect some wildfires. And the extreme case was in the last one was in Balochistan. A huge wildfire came up.
All right. Thank you very much for those eminent, points of views, because I hope that the Supreme Court and other important organizations will continue to take your, points of views on environment, on climate change, because it is with those, interjections that Pakistan will be able to counter climate change, because as you know, and we all know, that Pakistan is one of the most sensitive countries as far as climate change is concerned. Thank you so very much, Dr. Syed Mahmood Nasir Saab, former IG Forests and a huge, environmentalist, to have come all the way to the studios and talk to us about these very, very important points that are affecting Pakistan and the world. Thank you, sir.